Hi, welcome. If you tried to join us a little bit earlier, sorry about the audio. You know, this is our first live stream, and it didn't go so well the first time. So hopefully you made it back. You saw the post there that I put up in the Facebook against the post there, the original to get here. Anyway, so we're going to try this again, or maybe you're seeing it for the first time. At any rate, my name is Clay, and welcome to Musical Listening. Welcome to my first live stream here on the channel. And I've chosen to talk about, checking the chat window here, perpetual motion. You know, let me know what you think of this piece. Where is this piece for you in the repertoire of what you're teaching? Are you teaching cello? Are you an orchestra teacher? If you're watching this on the replay, put it down in the comments there. Where are you watching from? So this piece here is very special to me because it is a piece that I start students on so often when they're at this level. So if a student comes to me and maybe we should start, they have a lot of facilities, so we start at the beginning of book 2, or maybe we start at the middle of book 2, or maybe we're even starting in book 3. But what has been missing from their technique, from their development, is this loose wrist over here. And it's so important for so many things, not just for playing fast. I mean, we want them to be able to do it so that they can play fast notes. All right. All right, a little beginning of perpetual motion there. But when you gain this ability to loosen up this wrist and fingers, the other thing that happens, is that you gain independence, or your wrist and your hand gains independence from the rest of your arm. Okay. And this independence is what allows you to get the weight into the string. All right. When this is all functioning as one unit, as one thing here, all right, then I'm liable to lift the bow off the string or have lots of tension. All right. And this affects the tone. All right. So this action here isn't just about going fast, it's about just having a better sound. All right, being able to get the weight of the arm into the bow, into the string correctly, all right, for a better tone. And the other thing that it affects a lot, it's a really big deal, is of course legato playing. All right, so when I'm going to change the bow, I want to have a nice loose wrist and fingers, and again, it all has to be independent. I'm going to take a drink of water, all right? And you can do the same. My Six Flags cup here, all right, from Six Flags, which of course we didn't get to do this year. I missed my students, all right? So I'm drinking out of my Six Flags cup for good luck. All right, so here we go. So where do we start? And you can start with this with individual private students. You can start with a class. It's actually a lot of fun in class. I do this with 6th graders, and we start and I just have them, make this motion, all right? And I say something very specific to them. There's lots of images that come to mind that you can use, like, this is a floppy fish, or maybe you have another one. But the one that's my favorite, that works every time across the board, it's foolproof, is I tell them to high-five the wall. High-five the wall behind them like this. And as soon as I do that, as you can see, I'm almost there practically to the bowing motion. All I have to do is if I say high five the wall, okay, now high five the wall in the lane of the bowing, and look, I'm halfway there, all right, making this motion, all right, and of course they think this is completely silly and it's a lot of fun, all right. But I'll get all sorts of variations if I just tell them to flap the wrist. And also notice, as soon as I say high five the wall, you got to get your arm up, right? You got to get this elbow up, because this is a big one, for getting this wrist to move. All right, is supporting the hand with the arm, and if you're high-fiving the wall, it's all there. All right, I'm just getting them to loosen up. All right, and remember this motion. Now, putting the hand on the bow and the string. All right, the next thing that I would have them do is try to make this motion on the string make a sound all right, and still just moving, okay, the wrist and fingers. Of course, you want to really start all this on a scale. Now, with everything that we are going through at the time of this recording, it's summer of 2020, and we don't exactly know what's going to happen in the fall with our classes. But hopefully we will all be back together again, and you will see students in person. So this next one, kind of depends as far as right now. Hopefully you're watching this on a replay, and we are back with students, and that's awesome. And so you can just use this right away. But two things. If they're having trouble with this, moving this hand, loosening up this wrist and fingers here, having the student hold the bow, all right, with their hand, and going over and grabbing the bow and telling, you have to tell the student, I'm going to pull the bow, because as soon as the bow starts to move, students want to move the bow with you, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to play, and that's just their natural inclination, all right, because they love to play. All right, so you have to tell them, hold on, all right, just hold on, but don't move the bow. And as you move the bow, or somebody else moves the bow for them, this, all right, if this is holding on and all of this is doing nothing, this wrist, okay, has to loosen up. Almost always. And when you're pulling the bow back and forth, all right, you can tell if they're gripping tight or trying to move the bow themselves. You can feel when they're holding on the bow and the hand is really loose, all right? And so you try to go around and do this with as many students as you can. And of course, if you're one-on-one, you can do it. But you can have the students, all right, as long as we're in a better situation here, you can have the students do this for each other, all right, and take turns with their stand partner. One person holding the bow, okay, and the other one, all right, moving like this, all right. The other thing they could do, all right, just holding very lightly, and you can do this one, all right, since we are all social distancing here, anybody can do this for themselves, or a parent could do this for them at home, or a sibling. Is just hold this arm just to make you aware, okay, of any movement or motion that might be going on, and just so that you can isolate this motion here. Because as soon as you make yourself aware, or somebody else makes you aware, all right, of this moving, you can start to Alright, so this is the next thing, just trying to loosen up this, alright, feel this loose wrist, okay, and fingers on the bow there, alright. Then of course next we want to try doing this on a scale. The longer I do this, the earlier I start with the scale work before we get to the piece. So like right now I have a student, and I know that Scherzo is coming up in book 3 at some point, and we're still back almost done with book 2. We're a couple of pieces left from the end of book 2, and we've already finished doing our scale work of getting up the scale there into that 4th position, with all of the doubles. And this should be the first thing that happens. So it doesn't matter where you start, right? Tempo of understanding is what we want. A tempo where we can wrap our heads around what we're doing. D major scale, right? Because perpetual motion is just the notes of the D major scale. And then gradually speeding that up. So that we can just think about this. All right, remember we're focused on this. Let me say something about that. I know we're very focused. I know you have to get coordinated with the left hand, and we're focused today here in this video about the right hand, but maybe in a future one we'll talk a little bit more about putting it with the left hand. But just getting faster here. And all of the repeated notes, all right, is so that you can stay coordinated over here with the left hand. Until you get to full speed, all right? All right, and so you want to get to full speed with your max number of repeated notes. This should be the first goal, okay? And this is something, you know, the students coming to me in 6th grade, thank goodness for the elementary teachers, all right, they all know their D major scale, and it's something we can start with immediately. And this is also important because the violins need maybe a little time to learn it in D major, okay, on their own. With your classroom set of Suzuki books, you can just pass it out to the cellos, violas, and basses. They all have it in D major. Of course, violins in A major, all right? So if they've never learned it, having them learn it in A major and then having them play it down a string, or if they already know it, giving them some time also to learn it to play down a string, which is something we do with perpetual motion anyway. It's great to do that with perpetual motion, all right? But this scale work, all right, while you're giving violins a little time at home to do that, because I have to do almost nothing, well, I have to play the note, but my left hand is not moving very much at all, okay? It's all happening over here, right? And then, of course, I want to start cutting that in half, and maybe you even start cutting it in half at a lower speed before you get to full speed, which you can totally do, all right? And then I want to be working toward, so I'm changing the left hand sooner. And then, of course, cutting it in half again here, once again, and then also speeding it up. So eventually I get to the 2/16 notes, which is what we have, okay, in perpetual motion. Now, you also have to remind students, because they'll have trouble with this, all right, going really, really fast with the... Remind them that the left hand is still playing 8th notes. All right, and whenever we do this, it seems like a little light bulb goes off where they realize, oh yeah, my left hand over here actually isn't moving that fast, and this is just making the same motion. All right, I can do this, all right, and I can go bum, 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 all right, and there's a realization that it's not just about being quick, it's not just about going fast, it's about coordination, all right, it's about this other thing that isn't just about some, unattainable speed, all right, it's about putting these two things together like a jigsaw puzzle, all right, which isn't necessarily about speed. It's very affected by speed, all right, but it's not about speed itself, all right, it's about getting them together at the same time, all right, so you got to remind them of that by, all right, and then going back to, all right, and then asking them to put them together, all right, there on the scale, which is our goal. And of course, if you can add an arpeggio in there, very important. All right, then it becomes even more like the piece when you're playing the double. So doing that scale work, all right, even before you get to the perpetual motion, very, very, very important. All right. If you guys have any comments, questions, put them down there. I would love to answer them, even if you're watching this on the replay, put it down there. And tell me what you do with scales to prepare students to play like this. There's so many variations of scales, especially for getting this loosened up. All right. And I also want to say one other thing about playing just the 8th notes, actually, and doing this prep. Is maybe you're also, while you're doing the scale work, you're learning the perpetual motion, all right? Violins have got it down in D major. You can ask students, while they're playing the 8th notes, okay, to exaggerate this motion, all right, to try to loosen it up. Remember, you're just trying trying to end the gridlock, to get them to have some independence over here so they can have a better tone, so they can play more legato, right? And so they can play faster. There's a little bow reset there because I really am exaggerating. Alright, while you're doing the eighth notes, you could even, just thought of this, I've never actually tried this, you could actually do some extra doubles in the perpetual motion. So forth and so on. All right, just holding them out a little bit more so you're actually still playing the melody but really moving this hand along. All right, other things that you can do with perpetual motion to get this, I know we're going to focus on the right hand, but a really fun thing that a lot of teachers do, of course, is variations on this, and some of these variations really help this idea. For instance, playing triplets, all right, because you have this, you end up with this reverse bowing pattern, all right, and so it's going to get this, you know, these muscles and this action going here in all sorts of directions. Rhythm. And then reverse it. Alright, where you put the short note on the front, excuse me. Lots of variations you can do to also help, all right, loosen up this hand, loosen up these fingers. All right, I'm using my cheat sheet here to see if there's anything that I have left out talking about this right hand. Troubleshooting, okay? Troubleshooting. If a student is having trouble, you know, really struggling with this, you'll have to reinforce this, again, hopefully when all of our pandemic mess is over. All right, you may have to go back and remind them several times, all right, by moving the bow for them, all right, or having them on their own if you're doing distance learning, having them hold this arm over here, all right, not too hard, or having someone do it for them. You know, constantly remind them of this independent action, just hand and fingers, all right, and not letting this move with them. Another troubleshooting thing is just have them go faster, and I'll tell you why. You might have a student, like I did, that is works very hard, is very talented, very into the cello, all right, plays very well, and just gets things done, that will get this up to tempo, all right, get it up to 140 like we want, or even faster, and play it in tune and up to speed without loosening up this wrist. Okay, I've seen it happen, all right. So the answer for them is just to go faster. Right? Make them go a tempo that forces this wrist and fingers to loosen up. All right? Make them go 150, 160, or however fast they can go. All right? And do it well. that will make them loosen this up. All right. Another thing is maybe their hand just isn't strong enough, all right, for the fingers and the hand to be independent. A little bow game you can play, and I love doing this in class. Of course, you have to remind everybody, all right, not to throw the bows, is to have a race here, all right, and move the bow, grabbing on the other side with my pinky. I don't know if that's cheating, all right, and then also, of course, everybody wants to just throw the bow up into the air and win. All right, but moving this thing, all right, with just your fingers, not putting in the palm, that's cheating, all right, to get these fingers, all right, nice and strong. Okay, a little exercise that you can do. And some of you have exercises for that. Yeah, let us know down in the chat, down in the comments there, if there's something you guys do in class, all right, to exercise this hand, or what you do with your private students. Okay, that's it. All right, until next time. All right, thanks for watching. If you got something out of this, hit the like button. Think about subscribing. We have lots of great videos just like this one on this channel, and we'll have more live streams here in the future, especially in the near future here from Cello Book 1. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.